I'm Parmesh Shah. I'm the global lead for data, digital agriculture, and innovation. So in this role, I source all ideas, knowledge, and learning from all parts of the world, public, private, research, academia, and then test these solutions in a sandbox within the World Bank, and then invest in the solutions which we think can go to scale. So I work right now in 68 countries. I have also designed and invested in many climate smart agriculture projects while at the bank. And right now we provide support to 68 countries from all over the world who are working on these things.
And I know, Dr. Parmesh, you've told me you are speaking on your own personal reflections, not as a member of the World Bank. Is that right?
Yes, climate is a hot topic always, not only here, but everywhere. And in the present political context, climate has become even more hot. So I'm not the official spokesperson for the World Bank, because if I am quoted as that the World Bank said this, I'll land into trouble. So all the views are professional and technical. They don't represent, the disclaimer is they don't represent the official policy of the World Bank. I need to qualify.
That's fine, Dr. Parmesh, and we welcome your experience. My first question, Dr. Parmesh, is we look at the news today. It's war, it's geopolitical tension, it's economies tanking. I mean, we've just been looking at all the implications of this trade war that's going on. Why would anybody think that climate change is a priority action area and spending in April 2025?
While you can see war and lots of economic turmoil being, climate events were happening even before all this was happening. So if for every war event, there are 15 big climatic events happening which are affecting the livelihoods of people. We still have food insecurity in major parts of the world, and food and war and everything is related. Food is a very big question. And we thought we had solved it at one point of time. Because of war and conflict, we see that dragging down. We saw supply chains disrupted because of the conflict. Suddenly fertilizer prices went up. So I think these are all linked issues. And so, at least in the World Bank, the climate portfolio is growing annually by 25%. So we have not dropped our focus on investing in climate smart agriculture. But what clients are telling us that don't be obsessive about climate. Because the South and North have a slightly different view about climate. We know this. The South feels that climate problems were created by North, and why should we be penalized for that? And they still feel that equalization has not happened. So I think we should be more bothered about livelihoods and jobs and not treat climate as an obsession. And that's where I think the track will change a little bit. Where climate, there is a theory of change in which climate is a very important pathway, but it's not the end in itself. The end is more resilient livelihoods, more sustainable livelihoods, more income and jobs for rural people. That's what the end goal is. And we should focus a little bit more on that, rather than obsessed only with climate.
So we hear that, I mean, climate change is not something we should be investing our time and effort. It has become politicized. So what are you saying? How do we respond to that?
I think that's not going to change. The governments themselves are investing in that because they're not doing it because someone is telling them to do it. The governments in the South, which have invested significantly in climate also, it is because they feel that it is part of their growth, economic journey. And they don't want to choose a path which will get derailed because of non-sustainable kind of pathways and all there. So I think climate is always a trade-off issue. It will remain a trade-off issue. So climate evangelists will do more damage to the agenda. And that's what you are seeing right now politically also, a reaction to climate evangelism. Not only in US, but in all parts of the world. So I think I would only say that this much I can say for the World Bank, we are not drawing down on our commitment to climate. It's increasing. And there is but we are not saying that design projects only for, because we have climate co-benefits, mitigation co-benefits, official targets, Paris, all our projects have to be Paris aligned. I think that part which is that you have to do this as a regulation, as a diktat, will go away. It will become a developmental imperative. Climate is a way to get better development results. That's how the only part will change. So the way climate agenda will now go ahead will be by twinning with development as opposed to being an obsession itself. This is again my personal view.
So we see the development sector has been really hit over the last 3 months. Huge changes. We thought some of them might be coming, but these are astronomical. And it's going to change how we go going forward for at least the next 4 years. So the CGIAR, like the bank, is a research for development organization. How should we think our approach? Should we completely rethink it, the way we work? What should we be focusing on, given these major changes in development thinking?
So that relates to my current portfolio. And I've said this yesterday also in one of the sessions. You are sitting on tons of data, tons of innovations, not talking to each other, not consolidated, lying scattered. You should make better use of your own existing work and convert into actionable things.
Okay.
With a lower investment, you would get higher returns there. So consolidate what you are doing and convert into operational implications as opposed to doing new things and not even consolidating what you have done. So it makes smart sense if you're short on resources to consolidate what you have and achieve impact from what you have. And we are also doing the same thing. We are revisiting what we have invested in already and seeing whether we can optimize. And in that connection, I would say that you should become big users of artificial intelligence so that all your scattered data is efficiently organized, efficiently analyzed, efficiently retrieved, and is in the service of the clients in a more efficient way. If, as a whole, CG system is unreliable source of data, innovation, ideas, and all. One more example I would give you. We have invested as a World Bank 32 billion in CGIAR. Okay? We are an investor in you as well. But when I have to now design a 300 million project in Africa, I have to again call my friend in CGIAR and ask him what you are doing. There's no chatbot which allows me to immediately go to that country and see what is UMI doing, what is ICRISAT doing, what's CIAT doing, and allow me to access what ideas we should pick out of CGIAR to design it. So even our investment should be informed. Two investments we are doing, they don't draw on each other. So if we just make ourselves more efficient in this period of maybe resource environment might be a little bit constrained. So relook at your own existing resources and create impact out of what you have. Rather than start doing many new things and then again have the same problem after 4 years, that you have 1,000 flowers blooming, but you don't have a big kind of valley of flowers. You need a valley of flowers. I think you could become a Silicon Valley of agriculture. You better aspire to be that by not doing more and more, but really creating a vision of where all this will lead to and do that.
So what we're hearing from the donors all this week is it's more from less and very much building on what we have already. So it's very much about locally adaptation. We heard about finance and scaling out. So that has really got to be part of our work going forward. My next question is it even possible to scale our impact to face a 2-degree world? And are we even beginning to address the missing middle with the bit between science and delivery if we're really going to touch the world's poor?
See, I see examples of that. So we invested in ICRA, and it's a big thing for the World Bank. We always invest in governments. We said, okay, we invest in an instrument where CGIAR will really provide. Results are extremely good. I am making a case for ICRA to be funded more, because what happens is the link between science, innovation, and the government and policies is weak. And I think we should play that convening role to link that up. And we have managed to get about 115 technologies introduced through ICRA to many governments in Africa, and the results on weather services and all are so phenomenal that Met departments, some of the governments have changed their behavior. So I'm very optimistic. Wherever we have worked on a concentrated basis on linking the research and innovation to action, we have got good results, but it is not systemic. It is sporadic. It is entrepreneurial. So I think from being sporadic and episodical to systemic is what the shift is occurred. And I think we have to go for I would call a impact fund. I'm telling my colleagues and I'm telling some people from CGIAR, can we create a new impact fund of CGIAR, which allows you to convert a lot of your innovations into impact. So you should have an impact obsession, not obsession with writing research papers and all that, which you can do in your sleep. You should do more of impact and focus and obsessed on impact, that you will influence 300 million farmers to go from point A to point B. And whoever is in CGIAR will have to go and work toward that goal, rather than creating your own goals for every institution separately. So I think bringing it together is important to do that.
Yeah, thank you. So earlier on, we heard about mitigation. And Augusto put up a slide about adaptation and mitigation. And we're seeing that they are not mutually exclusive, they need to be together. But my question is, given the debates about just transitions, should we even be looking for co-benefits in the many countries that the World Bank and the CG work for?
It's a very good question. Sometimes we do this very conceptually and theoretically. I think there is always a continuum. And there's a crisscrossing and sequencing between mitigation and adaptation. It's not like a watertight line between the two. Energy sector looks at it very differently. Agriculture is the most complex sector because of adaptation and mitigation taking sometimes different pathways. So, but it will vary according to the context. If you are dealing with climate events like droughts, floods and all, you will take a slightly different view. But if you're dealing with soil health and all that, you will take a slightly different view of it. So official policy, still we are measuring adaptation mitigation. We have targets in the bank on adaptation mitigation. But I think there's a rethink required there.
Isn't there just about the major emitters need to focus on mitigation? We need to put the pressure on them.
Yeah, so this is the North-South debate. So some people in the South think this is invented by North to evade their responsibility, because they should have been doing more on mitigation. So I think it is being debated. It was debated at COP, it was debated in Paris, and I think this is not gone yet. And there will be some more churning on this in the next 4 years.
Okay. So throughout this week, everything is about impacts here, whether it's from our executive managing director or the chief scientist. It has been about impact. Now, how do we actually measure that? Is the World Bank and CG, are we actually measuring impacts in the right way? Are we able to show the results? And how can we really capture that what we're doing in all this investment is actually making a difference?
So one thing which I think our current president did was he first time bought a corporate scorecard. We have boiled down everything what we are doing to 29 indicators now. And they're measurable.
29.
29. Because you know how many we had?
RMS lot are looking at 29 indicators.
You know how many we had before that? 195. So we brought 195 down to 29 because every sector was including them. But they said no. Like there is an indicator on digital. Number of people using digitally enabled services. Agriculture has farmers in there. Other people have SMEs in there. But overall, we combine all the things and look at the impact. Now, it is still not reached the impact stage. We are still very obsessed with access, say, into digital world. So now in the second round, we will look at what are the effective users who have repeatedly used digital services. So there's a qualitative indicator and there's a quantitative indicator there. It's a continuous process to keep on evolving until we reach impact indicator. But in agriculture, it's much more easy. If you say number of farmers using improved extension services or practices, and if you want to tell a figure about the whole CG system, there should be a way by measuring that. It should not be individual institutions measuring their impact. It should be the CG system measuring their impact in an aggregate way. We have about 6 indicators on agriculture in this 29, which is food and agriculture is quite a big part of the 29. But we are not saying that food and agriculture impact will be achieved only by agriculture and food people in the bank, which are only 350. We are asking the private sector people to contribute. We are asking the infrastructure people to contribute. We are asking the digital people. So we have now developed a cross-sectoral team which is obsessed with impact. This is, I think, the change we have done, at least in the bank. I think CG system has very driven, entrepreneurial, high-quality people. In general, you have many such people. But they have to come together and be gelled by outcome. And I think it's high time that even in the World Bank, we are talking about creating an impact fund, which is not only funded by donors, but funded by private sector and others, and look at a different model of financing going forward, in which we are not asking countries to give some concessional resources all the time, because that model is not going to be sustainable. And in the current political environment, that model is under threat, that countries will keep on giving higher bilateral and multilateral aid. So we are looking at impact investments in which public sector, foundations, pension funds will come and start having bonds, sustainability bonds. We did a Rhino bond. We are doing a food loss waste bond. It's to bring in a lot of consumers who are very keen to work on developmental issues, have surplus resources to invest it now in that. CGI is working on food and lots of very important issues globally. So you will have to bring a new financing model on this.
But let's get back. It's about impact. And that impact is what you said earlier on. It's about new jobs. It's about increasing incomes. It's about nutrition. It's about reducing stunting of children. That's what we're trying to. It's not about production.
No. So that's why there's a challenge in measurement.
So how are we going to do that?
Yeah, I think you have to develop new ways of measuring it. And I think the conventional economic models of the way World Bank used to do development research are also outdated. But the advantage is what we see in the digital world is that this data is being collected all the time. So you can create impact projections based on the data you are collecting all the time. So I'll give you an example. If financial transactions are recorded, if you have satellite data, you have all this data, you can create an impact observation based on that. Rather than going and measuring every household everywhere, you have to come with smart ways of measuring impact. And in the impact world, it's being done like that. They are measuring it like that. So we have to learn how to do impact measurement differently. But the first thing is we have to come with impact outcomes, which all of us ascribe to. And I think you are such a smart institution. If you decide to focus on something, you will do it. I have confidence in you guys. You should have confidence in yourself as well.
So one of the areas you talked about, and it's your specialty, is about digital tools, digital advisories, and we see them. The CG cranks them out every funding round. We get more apps, we get more modeling, we get all of that. We have to make sure that they actually make a difference. One of the areas that we're seeing more is the digital divide. And how can we, and how are you at the bank making sure, as you're developing these fantastic tools, that you're not just exacerbating the digital divide? Those that don't have access to the data, mobile data, or cannot read, or do not have a phone that works on it, how are you going to make sure these tools are more inclusive?
So agriculture is something where the problem is not only going to be solved by digital. The terminology which is used is phygital. You have to do physical and touch points and digital. So human touch is very important in agriculture. So you have to combine the two approaches and use them proactively. Now, give you an example that we have a lot of women, we assume that they don't have digital literacy. We are running a big program in India where 165,000 women are working as digital banking correspondents. They have a POS machine, which they take to the farmer. They deliver all subsidies and benefits to people at their doorstep. Even the people who are differently able are able to go there. Elderly are able to get their pensions. And the credit and savings are provided through that. So I think it's the young people who will be the people who will use digital technologies, and they will in turn use it with their farmers and others. The second thing is you have to make good use of farmer organizations and cooperatives, which are aggregated and have a better chance of using digital technologies. So it's called agentic models. You have to have a digital agent, and you have to have technologies, and then you have a lot of users there. Then there are innovations where you are converting extension advisories into voice messaging. I think all the people are using more the IVS voice kind of messaging, which you convert every message not into an SMS message, but a voice message. Those messages are being used more and more. They don't have to be broadcast only through mobiles. They can be broadcast through TV. They can be broadcast through any other mechanisms there. But you need a combination of digital and all. But the bigger challenge you have, the World Bank also has, that all the innovations and data have to be brought back into a AI-enabled architecture so that it can be retrieved faster. And people, this is the data I quote, I don't have any fully empirical observation. It's the back of envelope calculation. Even the farmers and professionals use 70% time on collecting data, accessing it, 20% on analyzing it, and only 10% on using it. That's why we never reach scale. How do you invert this? You invert this only by making sure that the access time is only 5%. That can be done if you have created an AI architecture at the back of it. And we are now testing these chatbots for all the bank staff. We have 21 teams which are testing a product whereby any question which we're testing it with governments, we are testing it with a lot of our partners, and we are also going to test it. Yesterday I was in the president's office and they say, President asked this question about maize productivity, why is it not growing? And we can never answer that question. So we have collected 250 prompts from all sources and we have created a chatbot which can then answer that question in 3 minutes.
And so just to clarify, a chatbot is something where you write in normal words.
Normal words.
Normal words.
Normal, or you can even record you don't have to write, you have to speak, I want this. And then challenge now is to develop local language models which can convert into that. That's the biggest challenge now. That's what we are trying to do with GAGE, CGIAR, and all that LLM models which we are trying to create together. What I'm very impressed is that when we created this bot, the biggest contributor to that is the CG system. You have given us all your data, and if you want to use your data, please use our chatbot. But create your own chatbot, basically, so that you are able to use your own data. Anyone in the CG system, anywhere in the world, wants to know what World Fish is doing, what ICRISAT is doing, should be able to access it at the touch of the button. Which means you will have to organize your data at the back end. And you have started that process already. So it's not that you are on ground zero. I think you are doing a lot of interesting pilots in various institutions. So imagine if CG, World Bank, FAO, all bring all their research data. We have bought all our data. We have bought 30% of your data. We have bought FAO's 50% data. We have private sector has also contributed data which they think is not going to be used for commercial purposes like trials and all. They have given that data also. So I think we are using our convening power right now to make sure that we are able to create a data backbone for future. At CGIAR, if you are able to do just this one project, I think you will have tremendous impact in terms of having more products and services and others using your products and services. You have 6,900 startups, tech startups in the world. If they start using your data, products and services will quadruple. They will not develop because of CG system trying to do everything from point A to point Z. You have to work collaboratively. Only when you share your innovations, then only they will use your data. And you should be proud if they start using your data.
Well, we are definitely working on that and want to take that forward. So my last question is, we have a group in this room of all ages and capabilities and interests in tackling climate action. From your digital view, what's the next frontier in technology and innovation, and what should everyone in this room be upskilling in?
I think one is that you should clearly have a vision of scale. Even if you're doing a small thing, you say, where do you want to take your innovation there? So I think you should have a scale mentality, and everyone should have a scale vision to which everyone buys in. So if each employee knows that what I'm doing will lead this, that itself will push people to go in a different direction. Second is what I said about that an AI platform, which is one CGIAR AI platform to which anyone can be a user. At least all the CG employees start using it. Then your clients start using it. So that is one thing, that don't produce any information which you don't want to share. So if you have that mentality in your mind, the innovations will quadruple. I just leave these two messages.
Thank you very much. I'd love to open it up to the audience. We have Dr. Parmesh. Give him a hard question. Can you think of something you would like to push Dr. Parmesh on about climate, this rich experiences across many parts of the World Bank? What would you like to ask Dr. Parmesh?